Here I am in the middle of making a video for Squid Game, trying to ride that high while I can, and then, out of nowhere, the animated adaptation of Injustice Gods Among Us comes out from DC, with director Matt Peters returning at the helm from his work on Justice League Dark, Apocalypse War, which, if you know me, wasn't a film I enjoyed. So, here we are, and wow, do I have some thoughts. Injustice Gods Among Us was a game developed back in 2013 and released on the Xbox 360 and PS3. Much like NetherRealm's other huge franchise Mortal Kombat, it was a fighting game where you get to play as heroes and villains and fight each other to the death in 1v1 matches. With Injustice being DC themed with a very intricate plot spanning 6 in-universe years and actually a few years of real-life storytelling, to say this story was complex is an oversimplification. It's a story I kept mostly up to date, and shortly after finishing the movie, I went back to and read again. The film tries to adapt the story the best it can. The plot follows the Justice League of Earth 22. Superman has just found out that he is going to be a father with Lois Lane, and things are looking pretty good. Very quickly though, things start to go south, with the Joker and Harley Quinn abducting Lois and killing Jimmy Olsen, which then leads to Superman to fall right into their trap. Superman is gasped by Scarecrow's fear toxin lined with kryptonite, leading him to believe Doomsday stands right in front of him. He blasts him into space, giving to what he believes is Doomsday all his might. He realizes his mistake when Batman alerts him that is in fact Lois Lane. In Lois's death, tied to her heart rate, a nuke blows up Metropolis, killing millions. The Joker had won. Injustice is a very, very dark story. This is just the opening. This leads to Superman becoming the supreme ruler of Earth, that the buck stops at him. Heroes vs heroes, villains joining sides, and so begins the story. There are positives to Injustice, and I think starting with them is something I want to do. I know I was really harsh on Justice League Dark and that it garnered me a lot of success, quite a lot of success actually. So please trust me in that I didn't want to go into this film ready to hate it. Because is this movie a disaster? No, I don't think so. I think it's a missed opportunity that I know DC and Warner Brothers will eventually be able to do justice. This is a story with so much potential, and with adaptations just like this, the liberty to change story threads after seeing how fans saw certain things is the perfect time to do it. The movie really does well in adapting the art style well from the comics, for the most part. The character models here really do stand out even if some of the designs aren't my taste. The Flash looks amazing, Batman, yep, that's him, and Harley Quinn's design was actually really improved, I think, going with a much more modern take and less provoking. Overall, designs are good, and overall, the movie is just decently fun. I know most of the story beats already, but I was still able to have a kind of nice time with it. The voice acting though, not having any returning cast members from the games or most previous entries, was still good. Laura Bailey was a great Lois Lane for the small part that she played. Gillian Jacobs, a great Harley Quinn. Jeanette Varney, an amazing, she does Cora, I love her as Cora. She does a great Wonder Woman. And Yuri Lowenthal, like, look, I love this man, and so just to hear his voice, look, he was good. He was good. But the big two, these are the most important characters in the movie, and they are serviceable. Coming from the games, which had the amazing George Newbern and legendary Kevin Conroy, is really tough. Injustice just jumps straight into the middle of a conflict, and had to have voice actors that have done it for decades, it helps bridge that connection a little bit. So their chemistry is unrivaled. So it's almost the impossible task. Overall, they did okay, but in major scenes, it really lacks that real punch and gravity that those other voice actors do kind of bring to the role.
Beside, but you're not going to stop us.
You don't belong here.
For better or for worse, I know some people will have strong distaste for most of this, but nearly every sequence is somewhat directly coming from the book in some regard. Like every point I can see where it came from at least.
Nightwing. Grayson, get up.
Okay. So some parts of the comic I wasn't a fan of. So seeing some parts cut, I didn't really mind. Didn't really bother me. And as time went on during the movie, there were certain parts of the comic that I knew were coming up and they weren't there. I'm like, oh, I'm okay with like the strength pills not being there. They're not my jam. I'm cool with that. But in saying that, it kind of then hit me on other things that were cut. And as time went on further, you go, oh shit, we're halfway through and they're still in year one. Oh geez, what's this? And I think it got to a point where I'm like, oh my god, how do I show this to you guys? How, if you haven't seen the movie, how do I show something so significant, someone so important, not being in the story, in the movie, and then kind of just show you? And I then realized, wait a minute, there's a perfect way to show this. And it was when all my friends were finally seeing it in the group chat. We would just send this one word, and we just like, they've seen it. They've seen it. They would just say one character's name, and they go, Yeah, so I'm going to show you this scene, and then you can kind of see my frustration, my anger, and nearly anyone who's seen it, they'll just comment down, yeah, I felt the same way. So, without further ado, here's this scene that makes me go, the fuck you, like, what were you thinking? Like, seriously, it gets me a little mad. It gets me a little upset because, you know, I know I got a lot of traction with hating on these movies, but I love these movies. As soon as this finished, the next day, I watched Dark Knight Returns with a mate and was like, oh, that's class. Good shit. And then, you know, I watched parts of this again, and like, that Flash death was one of the most egregious, one of the most, I have no words. Because it's like they didn't even think. Because scenes like the chess scene later on in the movie, a one-on-one scene with Superman is replaced. And I love Mr. Terrific. It's different when it goes from being an equal of a Justice League member to someone who's joined the team. When it's one of the OG6, Barry, and Superman comes to him and goes, I want to pick your brain. I want to talk to you. Can you learn chess so I can, you know, have this debate and this moral dilemma that I'm in? Rather than Superman going, I need more T-Spears. Can you make them? Why? Well, I need them to do more policing, all that kind of stuff. And it kind of goes in. It's not as good. It's not as. It's different when you're going from I need something from you, but like Barry, like, you know, I need your help. Rather, I want something from you, Mr. Terrific. I think that gets it across pretty clear. That differentiation of like a friend coming in need and I want something from you, and you're going to prison because you're going against my command. It's showing a different part of the story and how important that scene was. And this is meant to be the positive section. This is meant to be my, you know, in the script, it's an easy transition to my cons. But yeah, all right, fuck it. We're in the cons. This is the cons. There are tons of tiny changes that almost feel like they're only done to speed things up, such as the entire Godfather scene was done in a way to take away from the moment. Batman only comes across as rude and condescending. His congratulations seems to have some weird connotations with it, and then Superman doesn't even offer him to be the Godfather. In this film, they aren't friends. Batman doesn't smile. They should have just ended it with the scene, just like in the comic, staring into the horizon, that they're friends, they're friendly. It just, not a single change seems to be in the betterment of servicing the story. It's just, oh, we cut this out and we cut that out because if we're here too long, then it won't make sense. And oh my god, fuck, my boy. Oh, the way they handled my boy Barry. But now that we're here, I guess I can just state the bloody obvious. This movie should not have been 78 minutes. That is my biggest complaint by far. Every single thing I disliked about it is tied to this concept, this idea that it's just frustrating. It's not even like they were disinterested and wanted to do like a sequel bait for Injustice 2. No, it's just they wanted to cut so much out of this story that it barely works on its own. Like, here is a good example. This fucking scene, man, it gets me just, it just gets me so upset. It's really cheap to have every single big player in the story just go, yep, see ya, we're out. It almost feels just so on the nose and a wink to the audience that, hey, we're in the source material, but we're leaving just to make things easier. The magic users just all agree we're out of this. That's it? Shazam? Seriously? You're telling me the writers have it, all the magic users, all of them are gonna stay out of it just based on a single line. The end of the world as they know it, based on a 12-year-old representing them. Dr. Fate, Zatanna, Constantine, just going, nah fam, we're out. There are tons of plot points I can totally accept cutting. The Darkseid invasion, alright. Sure, that's a very big story just to have in the middle, just him coming because they think he's weak and then like, nah, Superman's serious. I get it. But no external intervention at all. No Green Lanterns bar hell, none of that. They are borderline main characters of the entire storyline. Superman using the fear of the Yellow Lantern Corps also adds to the story, but fine, I get it being cut. It's a lot. It's why this should have been a two-parter minimum, if not a series. But that external aspect shows a great magnifying glass on the Superman's methodology, his ways, that it's more than just humans that are spectating this. Without Atlantis, without Oa, without Darkseid, without your Green, Yellow Lantern Corps, we have to just accept that Batman is in the right, Superman is in the wrong, and that they're the only characters that have any control of the conflict or what's at stake, or just the only players involved. Great aspects of the comics, such as just Alfred in general, is just missing, and it's just so glaring. Like, can you imagine, like, the birthday thing? It's gone. It's, if you don't know, like, it's a whole thing in the comic with Alfred's birthday, and there's a whole thing with Alfred's birth certificate, and that Bruce always knew. It's just, it's so emotional. It's such a good character beat, and that's what this movie's missing. It's missing an emotional center. It's just, you know, getting from point A to point B. It just, for example, imagine if Flashpoint took out the aspect of Thomas Wayne and Bruce Wayne, that really good dynamic of like, oh, you're Thomas Wayne, and then the letter to Bruce at the end is, it all comes full circle, and that's missing. That is so core to Flashpoint, because it also reflects Barry's mum and all of it, and it's just, it's not here. No Gordon, no Barbara, no Huntress, no Renee, no Dinah, no Flash, no Titans. Actually, going back, no Black Canary is so vital to Injustice. Ollie still has his death scene, but instead we get Batman going, Ollie, and that's it. That's it. That's all we get, because in this movie, death is meaningless. Death has no stake. It's just, it doesn't affect the story. Characters don't reflect on things that happen. It's just there. It's just a tool they use to then get to the next point. But they keep the big name characters there, so it's at least, it's Injustice still. Alright, let's get to the third act, which goes for 15 minutes. The entire story comes down to 15 minutes, including 2 huge action set pieces, and then bam, credits. Alright, it starts with Ra's offering Clark a fairly large premise, having an Amazo all around the world acting as a police state, and Clark's reply was, hey mate, love it, let's start small, eh? And here's me thinking that, well, Ra's is gonna play this smart, he's gonna lead on Superman and then have fucking 90 of these guys later, after he's learned every single ability of all the heroes and villains fighting, and have like one mega fight with all of them, and then like Ultron style turn on the world and all that kind of stuff. But no, Ra's instead is gonna blast the dude who littered, then Superman tries to stop it, and then Ra's reveals his hand like literally minutes later after they agree on this deal. Like, what the fuck is even the point then? The honest part, the action is still really enjoyable. From a technical standpoint, it does work really well. I really wish the environments played more into the atmosphere of it all. I just miss the days of Under the Red Hood or the Dark Knight Returns era of moody environments and set design. Like, I know I'm not gonna get 1990s Batman, like animated Art Deco stuff, but please, more than just like a farmland for a third act, please. The deaths of Cyborg and Hawkman mean nothing here. We are so close to the end, it just feels like them just trying to hit a death toll counter, and it's unfortunate this is a whole cut between a boring fight with Ra's and Damian. Deadwing is kind of just there, and the story's left on a I forgive you, which is like a weak way to end it. It's a much more complex situation than how it played out, and I don't remember how the story ends in the comics, but just this whole situation didn't work for me. Superman after this fight goes into how he's going to now arrest what left of the members of what is meant to be the insurgency, which is only Harley, Catwoman, Plastic Man, and Batman. And if you're gonna cut down your cast in half for blow, at least give a reason to why everyone's there in the first place. Most of the characters here have served their purpose in the story and have little to no reasons left to be here. And it's funny because the next part just jumps straight to the end of the game, which is year 6. So if you don't know, Injustice is, let me just explain it real quick. This is the story of Injustice. Yeah, I'm not gonna explain it. It's 6 years worth of storytelling. You understand that I'm not gonna now spend 6 minutes just recapping every single plot point. You see me talk to you right now about Alfred and those kind of things that are missing, but I'm not gonna recap all that. The movie's not bothered to explain to you anything. Why am I going to just recap every single thing that happened in the comic and go, see, it did do it. Whatever's left of the video, I hope you enjoy it, but yeah, this is here instead of explaining that. Anyway, Earth 1 Superman rocks up, and unlike the game, there's not much talking at all, which basically makes it an Anakin Skywalker situation, which means just Lois was the only person that could turn Superman, and it makes the whole situation just really anticlimactic. And the last thing I want to touch on is the music just didn't do anything for me. Coming from Christopher Drake's score of Injustice to this, it doesn't hit the same, and his work on other DC films, like aforementioned Dark Knight Returns and Under the Red Hood, you can tell it's missing from the tone and the mise-en-scene of it all. Like, all I need to do is show one little sequence in Dark Knight Returns and you'll just get everything I'm saying. It's just a single sentence, it's everything. It's just watch.
Clark. This is between you and me.
yeah, I think that's enough talking about this movie. That's my thoughts on it. I'm not gonna go any further. This video got really long, and then I went, oh, yeah, I gotta cut that down. This movie will divide people. I've got friends that like it, some friends that fucking hate it to dread. I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comment section down below. Help the algorithm out. Just, why'd you like it? Why didn't you? That's about it. Like, subscribe, that kind of stuff. I'll see you in the next one when that comes out. Thanks.